Hey everyone, welcome. I am the Mega Evolution Guru, and today I'm going to be doing a quick PSA guide to show you how PSA will grade your cards based on conditions and pre-existing grades that I have here, and how some things can look very different but still get to the same grade. So pardon my camera bumps. Let me see if I can set this up nicely. We are going to start off with the big one, a Gem Mint 10. If you are hoping to get a PSA 10, your card needs to be essentially flawless. Centering needs to be near perfect, if not perfect. Centering means how thick one border is versus another, how well it was cut on the sheet from it being centered between the blades. Edge wear and scratching need to be near non-existent. As you can see, there's almost nothing visible here. Surface scratches also need to be essentially non-existent in order for you to get a PSA 10 grade. Now, a PSA 9 will look somewhat different. It'll have a little bit more edge wear or edge whiting on the back. As you can see, there's a little bit here and there. And something you want to be wary about with cards like this or from EX era with a certain hollow style is these print lines, which you can kind of see along here. PSA is a little inconsistent with how they handle print lines. In this case, they were pretty forgiving. They still gave it the 9. However, with Professor K from the Pokemon Evolutionaries, their print line, he submitted a Ninetales Hollow from Dragon Frontiers with a print line, and it graded a 6. So they don't seem to quite know what to do with print lines. Once again, you can see this card is very good on the front, except it just has a little bit of edge whiting along the back and the top. So going a little lower, we'll be heading into the range of a near mint to mint 8. So now with this Rayquaza, it has no hollow scratching, that's just a little scuff on the case. No front edge wear. But the back does have edge wear. Now, I don't have any other PSA 8s to use as an example. However, when it comes to a grade like this is sort of a bit more edge wear than you'd expect. But you'd also usually would expect some hollow scratching or other edge wear along the front. So this is a little bit of an outlier in the sense that it's more edge wear than you would typically see in an 8. Now moving on to a near mint 7. I'll just start on the back here. This is about what you'd expect. Roughly the same amount of edge wear on the Gold Star Rayquaza, maybe a little bit less. However, it does have hollow scratching, as you can see here on the front. And a little bit of edge wear up on the top here, along this top border. It's kind of hard to see on camera. It's a little discolored and a little white. So that will be the range you'd expect from a near mint 7, you know, sort of moderate to light scratching alongside some edge wear. And the way that I usually pre-grade my cards, I look at every default. Let's go a little higher. Go to my 9, my Mega Ray 9, as you can see. And I count about every few white marks. So these are minimal, so a couple here, a couple here. That will bring it down a number grade. That's the way I like to pre-grade my cards. I sort of look at every issue that's with it, which is centering, scratching, edge wear, edge whiting, and I just count them all up. And I sort of go every couple, depending on the severity, will bring it down a number grade. So scratching here, that'll go down to a 9. Edge wear up here, an 8. Edge wear along the back, about a 7. So now, I don't have an excellent to near mint 6, but I do have an example of 2 different PSA 5s. Now yes, these are both first edition Charizards, but let me show you this one first. So with this one, you can see it has a fair amount of wear along it. It's got surface scratches here, hollow scratches all throughout here, scratches on Charizard, edge silvering along all around. It's got a fair amount of edging all along the back. So this is essentially all the same things that are on this card, but they are way more severe here. So the amount of the wear will matter. But then when you go to an example like this Charizard here, you can see the hollow is very clean. It does have a couple horizontal print lines, and PSA sometimes will mark against those, sometimes they won't. Depends on if the grader decides to call it a factory error and allow it to pass through, or if they call it damage. A print line is a horizontal line that happens through the printing process instead of a outside the pack scratch. As you can see, this card is fairly clean. It looks to be in the parameters of a 9, except this weird nick indent type thing. It's a little indented and it's pretty nicked, and that brings us down to a 5. So even though this card clearly has a lot more wear and this one looks much, much better, at least overall, PSA says they are equal in grade. So now, going down the list, a couple more grades, because I don't have all the low grades available, is a PSA 2. It's called good. Also, so if you get to a PSA 1, it's known as poor. And this, I think, barely missed getting the PSA 1. I think the person who submitted this, which was not me, was attempting to get a 1. Because you can see, it is damaged all over the place. This corner is bent. A lot of edge whiting, edge silvering on the front. A lot of scratching. Yeah. Just a lot of wear. So I do have a card that I believe will get a PSA 1. It is my Hollow Crystal Charizard. I do not have that with me at the moment because I only took out my PSA cards to do this video. But that is essentially it. There are some subgrades to look out for in the higher ups. There is between PSA... I don't believe there's anything below a 7.5, but there's a 7.5 and an 8.5. 8.5 is the most common to get. I think there actually may be a 6.5. I'm not sure. But that's about it. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot qualifier grades. As I mentioned before, let me just grab a quick card. Centering is one of the things that they look at. So this top is a little thicker. Oh, well, no, it's actually pretty good centered. Or pretty well centered. I don't think I have anything here that's actually really off-centered. But if this top was thicker than the bottom, that would be known as off-centered. When it becomes in certain parameters to where this border actually gets pretty small, when it comes to the near mint grades, I don't think they do it below near mint. So 7, 8, and 9. You could get a qualifier grade, which would become 7 parentheses OC or 8 or 9. And what that would mean is that it would get the next grade up, except for the fact that it's off-centered. And PSA will not count off-centereds towards the next grade up because it's considered a defect. And the same works for miscuts, to where if one of the borders is completely gone or it's been shifted into a weird position. Certain cards from Fossil, I believe, have stains on them, like Haunter or Hitmonlee, to where there is a physical stain from the printing process. Some ink stained the card, and that's a factory error. So that would be ST. So that is about all you want, or not all you want, but all you need to know with how your cards may grade. So that's going to do it for me today. I recorded this video earlier, but I sort of lost the video file, while I was reformatting my SD card. Smart move, I know. I should have had it backed up, but I didn't. So if you have any more questions or you would just like to chat, feel free to message me on my Instagram, which I'm putting up on the screen now. It is the_mega_guru. I'm very active on here, and I know I don't post a lot on YouTube anymore. So that's going to be about it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.